Hey, beautiful. Welcome to the Magic with Mary podcast. I'm your host, Mary. If you're a sucker for all things personal development, mindset, and growth, you're in the right place because here we teach you how to live your most authentic life, how to gain confidence, and how to step into your power. If you're ready to let go of the things that are holding you back, stay tuned and let the magic begin. Okay, so today's episode is going to be a little different than usual. And the reason why is because I'm going to deep dive into where I have been lately. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you know that I have kind of been on a break, if you will, or a lifetime hiatus. I can't say that word from Instagram and all social media. I'm trying to completely stay away from it. And the reason why is because it has created a lot of stress in my life. And not because I'm one of those people that like to reach out and, cause drama or anything like that. In fact, I stay away from that and try to spread as much positivity and love as I can. However, I have recently discovered that I have ADHD, and it completely makes sense why I struggle with social media. And one of the biggest things for individuals who have ADHD is to take long breaks from social media, as well as just not using electronic devices and stuff often. I do use my phone on a daily basis, but any more distractions than I already have, including my new job, which is extremely busy, I am just going to take myself away from, because I want to be able to stay focused and accomplish my goals. And the best way for me to be able to do that is to take a step back from social media. So today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to deep dive into a life update and kind of explain where I've been, what I've been doing, how I came about discovering that I had ADHD, and why I want to just simply share my inspo mindset tips here on the podcast and kind of stay away from Instagram. We'll get a little bit more into that here in a bit. So the first place I want to start is back in June of 2022. So last year, I had started looking for a new job. I wasn't happy where I was, and I was having a hard time pushing my business forward, being able to scale and grow it to a point where I felt like it was going to go somewhere. And, working full time and trying to do that was kind of a challenge. And yet at the same time, my job was so boring, and I had so much stress and negativity around me in that particular job that I felt like I needed to take a step back from it, which also meant that I needed to take a step back from my business. And I sat down one day and I realized, you know what, Mary, you have a bachelor's in communication. You have a master's in business, and it makes sense that you want to grow your business. However, the reason you went to school to get your master's in business was so that you could do something in marketing and or human resources. You knew you wanted to be in that area somewhere. You wanted to be in a place where you could help people and serve them. And so why are you wasting an opportunity right now and not applying for jobs and getting out of this negative environment that you're in, and making some changes that could potentially help you, with other goals and other areas of your life. Plus, make a little bit more money doing something that feels purposeful. So I decided to apply for some human resource positions and a few other things. And when it comes to the things I want in life, I usually end up getting them. I hate to be so, what's the word? I hate saying this, cocky, but in life, I tend to get what I want. And the reason why is because I'm a very determined person and I go after the things that I want. I'm really not afraid of being uncomfortable. And that tends to be one of the biggest problems I have in life, is that I'm constantly taking myself out of my comfort zone. And I'm always stressed because of it. And the goal is to learn how to be able to stay, in a zone of being able to tolerate, that uncomfortability. Anyways, back to my story. So I applied, found a job, and here I am now. I am working for a company in human resources, and it is amazing, and it's busy, and it's hard, and it's a challenge, and it's sometimes the craziest thing I've ever done. What I learned from this job is that I do not have the freedom that I had in my last job to be able to get on Instagram and share the inspo that I want, to record podcasts and share the things that I want, and create content to help other people just live the life that they deserve and that they dream of, right? And that was really the whole purpose of my business before, is being able to help others. So from this job, what started to happen is that I recognized that I was busy, and it was starting to take over into my family life. And my family life is already busy. I mean, we have 3 kids, and it's constant go with the young one. And it was hard. It was really hard. And the hubby and I started to struggle. It was crazy. I was making more money, and we were struggling financially. And we were struggling to help our son, do well in school. And we were struggling to connect and all the things. And I was spending a lot of my time focused on my new job. And I was working late, and I was working extra hours, and I was putting more time into my job than I was my family. And so things started to lack there. And everything just felt really hard. It felt really hard. And, come, October, November, December of this past year, 2022, I am struggling, and I want to make a change. I know something has to change. I'm not able to focus at work. I'm not able to focus on conversations with my husband. It's go, and I feel like I'm working 10 times harder than I need to be just to get the things done that I need to. And I start kind of writing down a list of things that I'm struggling with. And then one day I'm listening to this podcast, and they're like, I didn't know I had ADHD, but come to find out I did. And, these are some of the symptoms I was having. And I'm like, all of a sudden, like, huge light bulb, ping, right? I mean, and in this podcast, it's funny because this girl who is, sharing this, she has these long podcasts, right? And it's so hard for me to listen to those long podcasts. Like, I have to listen to them in short snippets, or else I'll never get through them. And, one of the things is that they say, with ADHD, and in women, they talk a lot, right? They talk a lot, and they have a lot to say. And yet when it comes to listening to other people, they have a really hard time listening. I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah. That's funny, because that girl has these long podcasts and a lot to say. And I'm like, that's me. I have a lot to say, and I rarely get to the point, and yet I have a hard time listening to other people. Yet I love to listen to other people, and I want to listen to other people, and for some reason I can't seem to do it. All right, Mary, get back on track. Focus. So I'm recognizing in this moment that I potentially have it, and then, my husband and I are starting to work on a relationship and kind of rekindle and bring it back together. And I discover that he has, his love language is quality time. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I have a really hard time listening to his stories. He shares a story and I'm off in La La Land half the time. And I interrupt him because he's talking about one thing and my mind's 10 steps ahead. And I've already gone through the whole conversation. And here I am now interrupting him. And I didn't listen to him. And now he feels unloved, you know. And so start talking to my therapist, start talking to our marriage counselor, and I'm like, what, you know, like, these are the things that are happening. Like, maybe I have ADHD, you know. And it's funny because talking to my therapist, she's like, you didn't know it? You didn't know that you already had ADHD? She's like, I thought that was something we already knew. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I don't know. Do I? And so we kind of start digging in, we're taking the tests, you know, all the, you know, and start learning and educating myself about it. And come to find out, yeah, hey, I have ADHD. And wow, no wonder why all the things that have struggled with and all the things that have helped me with my struggles, you know, like why I'm so obsessed with exercise and why I want to start talking more about exercise and lifting and nutrition and all the things on this podcast. So which is why I'm recording this life update, is because, you know, all of the things that I loved and helped me and all the things that I struggled with were all part of ADHD. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do now? So, you know, starting to understand like what the steps are for me, you know, and the exercise is huge for me in this scenario, you know, and the nutrition, you know, that is so huge. And I'm starting to do more research and digging into, you know, what things I can eat that are going to help me be able to focus more, you know, and what things I can, you know, do in therapy, you know, to work on, you know, some of the things and symptoms of this is, you know, the impulsivity, you know, and the distractibility and the, you know, moving around a lot. And it makes sense why my whole life I've been go, and why I can't finish something. Why can't I finish something? Well, because I get bored. Why do I get bored? Because I see something else that's shiny and my brain goes, oh, I gotta have that. And you know what? I think in general, I never recognized it because I'm like, oh yeah, everyone deals with this. And everyone does deal with it to a certain extent, especially in our modern age with our phones and you know, we don't struggle with you know, things that people used to struggle with, like what to eat or what are we going to eat for the next meal. You know, we're struggling with my next door neighbor's dog pooped on my lawn and that pissed me off and it ruined my entire week. Like those are the things we're dealing with. And so, you know, I never recognized it because I thought that it was just something everyone else was dealing with. And come to find out, nope. I struggle because my brain does not know what to do with dopamine. And I'm not going to go into the science because I don't fully understand it. I just know that, you know, when I exercise, you know, that dopamine, that's why I can focus. That's why I do really well in the mornings, is because I do a really heavy, intense 40-minute workout and then I go to work and I can focus for the first 2 hours. And then I got to get up and I got to move around and I got to go. And then I can focus again. And then I got to drink, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, 10, 11 cups of coffee. And then I can go. And it makes sense why, you know, most people can't drink as much coffee as I can because they don't need the they don't need the dopamine like I do. Anyways, long story short, here I am recognizing all of this and deciding what to do next. And that step was, all right, well, we know for sure that I've got to take a break from social media. We know that that is causing a lot of, you know, the distraction and the not being able to focus and get things done. So I took a step back from that. And that's where I am now. And that's where this podcast is going to go now. As it is going to become the place where I sometimes share a podcast that's 2 minutes with a little snippet of inspo for you daily. And it's going to be a place where I share maybe a 30-minute podcast with 10 reasons why you should exercise in the morning, or how to enjoy exercising more, or, 3 things that I do that help me eat healthier, or these are just random things that I'm coming up with off the top of my head. But it's going in this direction because it makes sense to me right now. And I miss getting on Instagram and sharing little snippets of inspo. I would get on there and just be like, today this happened to me and it made me recognize how grateful I am for this, this, and this. And, I encourage you to do this, this, and this. And I want to get on here and I want to just share a little snippet of that, because it's a place where I don't get as distracted. It's a place where I can share and help others and be able to stay on track and accomplish my goals a little bit quicker. And I think that feels right for me right now in this moment. It might change later, but for now, this is where I am. So, taking a hiatus from, I cannot say that word. Am I saying that right? Will someone please reach out to me and tell me if I'm saying hiatus right? Let me know. I've got to know. Anyways, that's why I'm taking my little break from social media, my lifetime break from social media. And I hope that you guys feel that you can still reach out, ask questions, because I do miss being able to hop into my DMs and have a quick conversation with somebody about, whatever it was. Say I posted something on Instagram real quick about, being able to get out of your comfort zone and doing things that are hard, yada, yada, yada. And you reach out and you're like, I did this week. And it really made me feel empowered. I miss those conversations on Instagram. So if you hear something on this podcast that's encouraging to you, please reach out. You can just email me. I'll leave my email in the show note links for this episode, and feel free to share what has helped you from these podcasts, or these snippets of inspiration in the reviews, because the more you guys review it, the more people see it, and the more people see it, the more people we can help. And that's really what this podcast is about. So if you feel inspired, please take a second, stop, go to whatever app you're using, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and go to the section where you can leave a review. And if you're on Apple, you got to go to the podcast, and then you got to scroll all the way down. I know it's a pain in the butt, but just take the time and do it. And then, hit the little 5-star, because I know you like it that much. And then leave a review and say this podcast helped me, da 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 da. And share that, because that's going to help someone else see that. And someone else who is struggling with something. Maybe you're struggling with ADHD right now, or maybe you just, whatever I'm sharing, maybe it's that you appreciate my vulnerability, whatever it is. Anyways, leave a review, please. That would be super helpful. And thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I will have so much more to come at you with. I have a couple different things. In fact, I'm gonna go look at my list of things that I have listed for what I want to kind of talk about coming up. I have a podcast that I've started working on called How to Believe in Yourself More. Just a couple tips in how you can start being able to trust yourself, and really, when you believe in yourself, you take action, right? Because when you don't believe in yourself, your mind is going to hold you back and you're not going to do the things. And so you got to learn how to believe in yourself if you want to take the next step. Looks like I have a couple podcasts on ways to get more steps in throughout the day, how to move more, tips to help you accomplish your goals. I have one that I kind of started working on called Stop Dabbling and Fully Commit to Your Goals. Tips and tricks on how to believe and commit just a bunch of stuff. So if any of these things sound interesting to you, stay tuned and stay involved. And I love you guys and hope you have a very beautiful day and have a great weekend. I'm posting this on Friday. So, I'm going for it because, they tell me, it tells me that it's not a good day to post podcasts because people are going into their weekend and they've got things going on. But you know what? Like, you guys will listen to it sooner or later. Whoever is meant to hear this will hear it. I truly believe that. So anyways, love you. Have a great day. Thank you for all you do. If you want some tips on how to manifest and, be able to reach the goals that you have always wanted to, go ahead, go to the show note link and purchase the Magic Manifesting Journal, okay? Because that thing is bomb, and it is how I have, in my personal life, created everything that I've wanted. So go grab it because it's awesome. Okay, love you. Bye. Peace.